Hey everybody, my name is Kyle, not your average finance guy. And our channel here, we try to help the regular Joe to get ahead with finances and get out of so much debt, quit paying the bank so much interest and get ahead financially. So this is your money and we're going to try to help you take control of it. So I was talking to a young man yesterday and he got invited to go to his brother's wedding, to be the best man at his brother's wedding. It's a destination wedding and it's in the Caribbean somewhere, and it's going to be a beautiful time. But he talked to me because I'm not your average finance guy, and he's like, I'm going, but I need to figure out how to make this happen. So he's been basically he's got himself out of some credit card debt. Everything is looking really good. He's about to the place where he needs to be. He's got positive cash flow. Everything's looking good. And then he's like, okay, now what do I do? Because it's going to be a lot of money, and how do we do this? So I'm like, awesome, let's do this. Let's figure it out. Like I said, I am not your average finance guy. I'm not Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey say, don't go. You can't afford it. Don't go into debt. I'm like, it's your brother's wedding. You're going to be the best man. Like, hell yeah, you're going. Let's figure out the best way to do this. So I kind of went through a couple of scenarios here, and let's go. So what we did first, we had him fill out his Know Your Numbers sheet. So if you can see here, his monthly income was $5,800. This is for him and his wife, no kids at this point. So got a decent amount of income, and then they went through and listed most of their expenses, and then they came down, they looked back at their credit card. Usually, it was about $1,000 a month, and they pay that off every month. So, no debts to speak over here. But right now they're sitting with a positive cash flow of $465 a month. Now they do have an auto loan and a mortgage that they're not really worried about paying off at this point. Maybe they were going to go that route, but now this trip came up, so they're trying to zigzag. This is what it is. Once you get the plan, life happens sometimes, and we just got to do the best we can with what we have. So if we're going to do this, he's like, all right, I'm going. And there's a nice picture of the beach I found on the internet somewhere. So basically, like we said, his income is $5,800 and expenses are $53. So he's got a positive cash flow of $465 a month. This trip is going to cost, all in all, with flight and the package, and going to spend a couple bucks while they're there. They're planning on $9,500. So if what they could do is could just go put this on their credit card and run up a $9,500 bill, and then use Velocity Banking to knock this down as fast as possible. So in doing this, the way I kind of did this scenario was I took out, I think I just took out the mortgage. So 1070. So if we go to credit card here, income, I knocked the income down to 4740 and the expenses to 4275. So basically, what I did not do in here for your credit card is you have to take your mortgage out first. So if your paycheck comes into your bank account, into your checking account, and then you can take all but your mortgage, so all but that 1070, and you can put the whole thing right on the credit card as soon as it comes in. So that's the way I've got this figured out here. So we've got income of 4740 throughout the month. We'll go straight onto the credit card because we're going to put the $9,500 on the credit card balance for the trip. And then as soon as you do that, you're going to take all of your income and you're going to put it on that credit card. Now, because you're putting all of your income on there, all of your expenses then have to be paid from the credit card as well. So same thing, all of your other, your gas, all of your utilities, we're saying can be paid from credit card. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. But whatever else, you've got throughout the month that you're paying on a regular basis, which let's go through here. You got water, you got all your utilities, your homeowner's insurance, your taxes, and these I think they said they paid once a year. So yes, they are a monthly expense. So we just use these for the numbers, but you don't have to pay those every month. You just pay those once a year. And your auto insurance, your auto fuel, your car payment, you probably can't put that on the credit card, but either way, just going through this scenario, we just put everything onto the credit card. Okay, so we've got the whole balance of the trip minus your income. So as soon as you get your income, you put it against your credit card, and then throughout the month, your expenses come back out. You're using your credit card for all of your expenses, nothing more. You got to keep track of it. And then at the end of that month, the credit card interest will be roughly $250, okay, on all that. So that's the beginning month. We're starting at $9,500, and so at the end of a month, we're going to be down here to $9,200. And again, because we're putting all of our income onto that credit card to begin with, that minimum payment, whatever the credit card minimum payment, is going to be wiped out because we're putting $4,000 on it. And yes, we're charging back throughout the month, but that once we make that, you know, even if you make a $1,000 a week payment, those payments will satisfy the credit card payments. So that's another little trick to how do you get ahead with the credit cards. So as we go through this, and just this is a 25% interest credit card. This is the worst kind of, you know, debt you can be in, so we want to get out of it as fast as possible. So this is using the velocity banking method that we talk about a little bit. Our friends over at Pay Down Debt Solutions, they zero in on the velocity banking strategy, so definitely go check them out. And if you want to learn more about the velocity banking, with doing that, the velocity banking, in 28 months, you'll get this trip paid off. Okay, so 24 months is 2 years, so you got 2 years, 4 months. You've paid for this awesome trip. Okay, in doing this, it's gonna cost you about $3,600 in interest to do it. All right, so I'm glad they called me and it's like, all right, this is a way to do it, right? Velocity banking on the credit card you have. But lo and behold, they own their own house. So they own their own house. They've had it for a couple of years. It's gone up in value. And what I kind of mentioned is like, well, if you've got equity, and they have equity and they have good credit. So I said, well, you can go to your bank and you can look at getting a home equity line of credit. So that's what they are going to do. They're going to look at that. And again, income, expenses, their cash flow. So my home equity line of credit is at 8% right now. I'm assuming they will be able to get one. So I just kind of ran the numbers at the numbers that I've got in front of me. And this is kind of what we came up with. Now their numbers might be a little off. Maybe they'll get a good introductory rate of say 5%. Maybe it'll be 10%. I don't know, but this is just to run a scenario. So a second scenario, HELOC, either way, I've got 8% in here. What they have on their current credit card is 25%. So either way, as long as your HELOC's less than 25%, this way is probably going to be better. So same thing with your HELOC, is what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we've got check writing capabilities. And what we're going to do here, you could even pay your mortgage out of this one now, but I just left the apples to apples the way it was, so we can compare everything together. So the $9,500, now instead of putting this on your credit card, we're going to put this on our home equity line of credit. So with doing that, we're going to put all of our income in. Same thing, we're still doing the velocity banking method. We dump all of our income into this home equity line of credit. And then as our expenses come out throughout the month, you could still use your credit card and then make one payment from your home equity line of credit at the end of the month to pay off that credit card then, as far as you can, right? But what we're going to do here first is we're going to put this trip, sorry, I'm got ahead of myself. We're going to put this $9,500 trip on our credit card. We're going to open up a home equity line of credit. We're going to take that $9,500 and we're going to pay that credit card off in one fell swoop. Okay, so now throughout the month, your income goes in, it goes into the home equity line of credit, and then your expenses, you can either pay that from the home equity line of credit by writing checks, or what I do is I put everything I can onto my credit card, and then at the end of the month, I make my credit card payment out of my home equity line of credit. So that's one, money goes in all throughout the month, and then one time at the end of the month, the money goes out. Remember, we want to keep that balance as low as we can on that line of credit. That keeps our interest as low as possible right here. So the way I figured the interest, it's a daily balance. It's an average daily balance. So I just kind of average these two together. It's going to be different once you finally get into it. But for illustration purposes, this is a pretty good way to do it. So remember, back here on the credit card, it took us 28 months of velocity banking with the credit card. We paid $3,600 in interest. With the home equity line of credit, we're going to cut that down to 22 months. And we're only paying $800 in interest. So that right there, we saved 6 months and we're paying way less interest on this. So we're getting better, right? So as we were kind of talking, you know, because they've got the good credit, it's like $9,500 and you guys are cash flowing almost $500 a month. Like, why don't you guys go look at getting a credit card with a 0% intro APR? So that's what they did, and they found a 0% intro APR credit card, and it's 0% for the first 18 months. So they don't have to pay any interest on it. So now we're going to continue. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the velocity banking. We're going back to the credit card now. We're going to put this $9,500. We're going to put this trip on this new credit card, and at 0%, and we're going to dump all of our income into that credit card. And again, all of our expenses outside of our mortgage is going to come back out of that credit card. So, and then at the end of the month, we have 0 in interest. So that's awesome. So if we can do this, now we start cranking through, and you see after 18 months, now we owe a whopping $23.50 in interest, but we've got this thing paid down to almost almost $1,000. Yeah. So 20 months, we owe $237. So now we're down to 20 months it took to pay this off, and we're going to pay about $45 in interest charges after that. So look at what we did, just what they normally would have done. And this is just putting it on the credit card, and normal people probably just would have made the minimum payments. Okay, this has velocity banking baked into it, so we're getting out of this in 28 months. And then we found the HELOC. Okay, this one's better. We're getting out in 22 months. Or hey, this one, let's get that 0% credit card. Let's pay that off as fast as possible. 20 months, it's paid off. It only cost you, 45 bucks in interest charges. So you still got to go to your brother's wedding, and you're the best man, and have a great time with the family, and do that. And who would want to miss out on something like that? So life happens. You can't just always, save and get out of debt and build wealth and not live life. So with things like this come up, please let me know. I love working on things like that, challenges like this. Like let's find a way to make this happen. It's gonna happen. Now let's find the best way to make it happen. So, all right, I hope this helps, and I hope I continue to bring you more ideas of different ways to skin a cat. And if you ever have any questions like any of this, please let me know. My email address is connect@notyouraveragefinancegui.com. I'll put it in the description, but please let me know, and be happy to make another video, in your situation free of charge, and we can hopefully help educate others and help everyone along. So, all right, good luck everyone, and happy getting out of debt and investing.